Today we're going to go over how to give subcutaneous fluids to your cat. If your vet has recommended that your kitty get subcu fluids, it's likely because they have kidney disease, chronic constipation, or maybe they've been diagnosed with a urinary problem and would benefit from additional fluids. So first we're just going to learn how to set up the bag. This is a bag of lactated ringers. There's 1,000 milliliters in this bag. The way you read the bag is from each number. 1 to the 2 is 100 mLs, 2 to the 3 is 100 mLs, and so on. And each hash mark in between is 50. Now, when the bag is full, you're going to go to the 150 if your cat is on 150 milliliters of fluids. So from here to the 1 is 100 milliliters. And also from 9 to the bottom of the bag, although it looks a bit skewed, is also about 100 mLs. Gravity works, the bag kind of pooches funny, but that is about 100 milliliters. It's not perfect, we don't have a machine calibrating this for us, but it's pretty close, and so we put a lot of faith in those measurements. So now we need to attach the line to the bag. This is the line that we're going to use for our subcu fluids. This is my favorite brand of line. When we take it out of the package, we want to make sure that the sterile caps that keep the line sterile are on and secure, so make sure they don't fly off when you're opening the package. Then, this rubber stopper just works kind of hard and stiff, so just yank it out, and then take the cap off of this portion and kind of whittle it in here. It works very tight and very stiff, so it will not leak. You can leave this bag anywhere in the home and you will not have a flood. So then what we need to do is we need to fill this line with fluid. It's always what's considered open when you first get the line in the bag, meaning the wheel that controls the flow of fluid is up. So we want to hang it up. I like to use a wooden coat hanger. That keeps your fluids mobile. You can move them anywhere in the home, hang them on the curtain rod, the shower curtain, or a decorative lamp. And now we're going to go ahead and take the cap off the end here, and the fluid's going to gush. So be prepared, do this over a sink or a trash can or something absorbent. And now I'm going to roll that wheel down, clamp it off, and now I've filled my line with fluid. A couple of air bubbles is not a huge deal. That is to be expected, and you're going under the skin, you're not going into a vein. So don't worry if there's just a couple little air bubbles, but a whole line filled with air is not nice. So we want to go ahead and fill that with the liquid. Now we're going to attach a needle to the end. I don't personally like to mess around with peeling this. Most of these needles come with a paper backing, so I just push it through and attach it like so. All the while being careful not to set down my line tip and contaminate it. So remember, when you have this out, don't set it down. You want to make sure it's capped off first. Some people like to keep this bit of paper on to remind them that the needle is fresh. You're going to use a fresh needle every single time you give fluids. So after you get done giving fluids, I like to recommend that you always put a fresh needle on, so you never have to think about it. You do it the same way every time, and every time you go to give your cat fluids, you know that needle's fresh because you changed it when you got done the previous session. Now, one last thing here with the cartridge is you want it to be able to be where you can see some flow. You can see your stream of fluid as you're giving them to the cat. You want to have a nice steady stream like a faucet's turned on. You don't want a slow drip, drip, drip. That will take forever. So you want it to be about half full or so you can see what's going on. If you accidentally overfill it, well, gravity works. Flip it upside down, squeeze it back into the bag so that you can still see a portion of the cartridge. Now, I typically use 1 line per every 2 bags of fluid. So I'm going to mark this with a number 1. And when this bag is empty of fluid, I'm going to take this line off, put it on this bag, mark it with a number 2, and then when this next bag is empty, everything goes in the trash. Just to minimize cross-contamination. You really shouldn't use this line more than 1 or 2 times. 1 time is perfectly fine. If you want to get a little bit more life out of it, you can use it twice. And that is pretty much the extent of setting up the bag. Now, a couple of other things you can do to make fluids slightly less insulting for your kitty is that these are room temperature. A cat's normal body temperature is 100 to 102.5. That's normal for them. So these are, 70 degrees, maybe cooler, depending on how you keep your home. So you can heat them. I like to put them in a pot of hot water, only up to here. Don't soak the line and the needle and all of this, but you can let them soak in a warm water bath to warm them up. Or you can even lay them between a heating pad as if it were a taco shell and warm them that way, but just be very careful that you don't overwarm the fluids. You just want to take the edge off. They don't need to be hot. Hot fluids is a lot less pleasant than cool fluids. And keep in mind that a full bag is going to take a lot longer to heat than an almost empty bag. So keep in mind how you're heating your fluids and how warm they're getting based on the amount of fluid left in the bag.